Hi, I'm Dr. Jerry Jackson, out with the wild things. Hummingbirds are the tiniest of birds, some only a little over 2 inches long and weighing about 1/10 of an ounce, 1/10 of what a first-class letter might weigh. The largest hummingbird, about the size of our cardinal, is the giant hummingbird of the high Andes of South America. More than 325 hummingbird species are known, and all living species are native to the New World. The greatest diversity of hummingbirds is found in the tropics, but 11 species are known from Florida. Only one, the ruby-throated hummingbird, nests in the state. The name hummingbird comes from the humming noise of wings that can beat nearly 200 times per second. Other names describe other characteristics. They are often called winged jewels, referring to their bright and iridescent plumage. Individual species have common names reflecting their jewel-like quality, including our ruby-throated hummingbird and a second hummingbird that has appeared in Florida, the Cuban emerald. In Spanish, hummingbirds are sometimes called picaflor, meaning flower piercer. My favorite hummingbird name, however, is the Brazilian name beija-flor, meaning flower kisser. It may seem surprising that hummingbirds are relatively uncommon in Florida. Even in North Florida, the ruby-throated hummingbird is an uncommon nesting bird. Most other species known from Florida are known here by only a few records, but the rufous hummingbird, which nests from Alaska south to the Pacific Northwest, has been showing up at winter feeders in Florida with increasing frequency since 1934. Other wintering hummingbirds that occasionally appear include Annas, Allens, broad-billed, buff-bellied, calliope, black-chinned, costas, and white-eared, all from the American West and Southwest. The Bahama woodstar from the Bahamas and perhaps the Cuban emerald from Cuba can show up at any time, perhaps wandering wintering individuals or birds brought to us by tropical storms. A black-throated mango from Central America reported in Florida by Audubon in the early 1800s is not generally accepted. Audubon received a specimen of the bird second-hand from the Florida Keys, but the specimen and details concerning it are unknown, and the distance to the natural range of the species is so far. But black-throated mango hummingbirds have been photographed in Texas. Maybe Audubon was right. The one hummingbird that nests in Florida, our ruby-throated hummingbird, is found through much of eastern North America, but is much less common in Florida than elsewhere. Why? The answer likely has much to do with the winter range of the ruby-throat and its migratory path to and from that winter range. Weather conditions and availability of quality food resources along the way play important roles, but so does the distance these hummingbirds must travel. Our ruby-throat winters through much of Mexico and northern South America. To get to its winter home, many fly the shortest distance across the Gulf of Mexico, from coastal Louisiana and East Texas to the Yucatan Peninsula, a distance of about 500 miles nonstop. To accomplish this feat, the ruby-throat must nearly double its body weight before leaving, and then accurately judge weather conditions. Many ruby-throats take a longer, presumably safer route along the west coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Some more northern breeding ruby-throats do migrate through Florida to Cuba and then to Mexico. The trajectory of hummingbird migratory journeys generally bypasses Florida. Hummingbirds feed on nectar produced by flowers, but the relationship between hummingbirds and their flowers is a two-way street. The production of sweet nectar by flowers attracts insects, hummingbirds, and bats that might pollinate the flowers, allowing the plant to produce seeds. Over time, flowers change in response to these nectar patrons, favoring those most likely to pollinate the plants and often restricting access to others that might take the nectar without pollinating the plant. Hummingbirds, too, change over time, responding to changes in flowers, so that the hummingbird's long, slender bill fits perfectly into the long, tube-like flowers of hummingbird-pollinated plants, and its tiny wings and strong breast muscles allow it to hover in front of a flower long enough to consume the sweet liquid. Nectar that is about 25% sugar attracts hummingbirds. If the nectar is below about 15% sugar, hummingbirds go elsewhere. Bright colors attract hummingbirds, and many, but not all, hummingbird flowers are red. A diet of nectar is inadequate to support hummingbirds, and they also feed on tiny insects and spiders to get needed protein for themselves and their offspring. Although hummingbirds are uncommon in South Florida, providing food for them can improve chances of seeing them. The best foods are natural, the nectar of flowers. Favored plants include native plants such as firebush, trumpet creeper, and blue porterweed. Hummingbird feeders help when flowers aren't available. Most commercial feeders are red and easy to fill and keep clean, but hummingbirds will visit flowers or feeders of any color. Hummingbirds prefer a sugar concentration of about 1/4 cup of sugar per cup of water. The sugar water in your feeder needs no red food coloring, but it does need to be emptied, cleaned, and rinsed about every 2 to 3 days. Mold develops quickly in the sugar solution in Florida's warm weather. Expect other creatures to take advantage of your hummingbird feeder too. Downy and red-bellied woodpeckers cling precariously to hummingbird feeders to lap up the sweet liquid with their long tongue. Bees and ants also may come. Ants can be kept away with a small cup-like device filled with water that the feeder can be hung from. The water serves as a moat that the ants can't cross. Ant barriers are available commercially, but can be made from a small plastic bottle or cup by drilling a hole in the bottom, running a piece of coat hanger through the hole, bending it to form a hook on each end, and sealing the bottom around the wire. With the Wild Things is produced at the Whitaker Center and the College of Arts and Sciences at Florida Gulf Coast University. For the Wild Things, I'm Dr. Jerry Jackson.